Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghai. My name is Duke, and this is an unboxing video. Now, this video picks up where yesterday's left off. I had to cut that video 4 times. It's not a straight cut. I did leave in a few bits from yesterday's video just for clarity, and also moved a few things around so that this video is an all Marvel Bronze Age box. So, if you like X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Avengers, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Kind of judge for yourself. Rather, you think each book we look at, what would you pay for it? Would you pay $10 for that? And rather not you would pay $10 for it, do you think anybody else would? And by all means, if you think I'm whiffing it here, and these you see anything that you think's definitely not going to go for 10, might go for less than 7. Start hollering, Bubby. Start shouting at the screen. Maybe I'll hear you in time to amend my ways. So maybe, like I said, maybe I'll hear you and I'll be able to pull them from singles and list them as lots. X-Men, I find, sells well as a single all the way up to about 200. And that's where you want to start putting them in lots. So even though that's a 50-cent book, meaning it's what, 82.3, something like that. Let's check. See how close I got. 81. That should still do well. Whoops. Kind of manhandled that. I'll have to cut that out. I sometimes get nasty grams for how I handle the books. I've had people tell me, you need to be wearing gloves. I find, actually, with gloves, I wouldn't even consider wearing gloves except for a really high-end book. But even then, I find that as long as my hands are clean, I'd rather handle them barehanded than with gloves. I find that with gloves, I'm just too glommy, and I'm likely to do more damage that way. But, you try to handle the books carefully, but, every now and again, things happen. So, I think all those will be singles. This Amazing Adventures, and it's a lower grade, so that'll pull out. That'll go into a lot with some other X books. And I guess another question to sort of ask yourself as you watch this is, in addition to, do you think, we just saw that. I just had a sudden burst of puberty there. My voice changed. We just saw that! I was happy as a little girl. What was I saying? In addition to asking yourself, okay, well, is this book something that should go for $10? Would I pay $10 for it? Do I think somebody else would? Do I think it'll go for at least 7? Ask yourself too, like, okay, here's what the lot was. These next few books until we get to the next bag. Would you have bid on that? Or is it just a stupid lot? So, I mean, this one, X-Men 143, 144, 145, these would have been a good lot. This one's low grade, though. Yeah, the cover's faded. I'm going to pull that one. That can go into a lot. But then it jumps up here to 203. And like I said, that's about where we probably want to start putting those in lots. So do I want to try that as a single just to kind of test it? It depends. I don't think I do because it's got a few ticks here, so it's not really super high grade. It's probably like a 7, 7.5. Yeah, that should probably go in a lot. This friggin' thing. This I will use to sort of goose a lot, like those X-Men books we just saw. Throw this in with it to maybe help it draw a few bids, but this X-Men #1 doesn't go for a lot just because there's about 10 million of them out there. Most of them nobody ever read. So I'm going to put that in for lots as well. Ooh, look at that. And that's a single. That's not with anything. I wonder how I glommed onto that. Glom seems to be the word of the day. Right, Pharaoh lad? Oh my God! Wait a second. I am naked. I am naked. You can see something's not right here. The hell's my ring? There it is. There it is. I knew something felt off about this video. All right. Now I'm ready. 186. 187. And this is about where I dropped out of the X-Men as a kid. I felt about the time that Claremont was introducing Rachel Summers, he seemed to lose the thread of the plot. And then John Romita Jr., I just thought his art was ugly. I really did. Well, this isn't. Is this him? It is. But he got worse as he went on. And it was right around issue 200 that just before 200 that I dropped out as a kid. And if you like John Romita Jr., hey, more power to you. You know, not everybody has to like everything. But I'm just not a fan of his work at all. This one I'm going to pull again. And I think that one I'm going to pull, put that in a lot with some other stuff. This is definitely a single. But anyway, you know, I'm not a fan of John Romita Jr. And, you know, if you are, great. Leave a comment below. Let me know why I'm wrong, why I should love him. Spider-Man, those are pretty much singles up until about issue 212 or so. That's when I find we need to start doing them. Now this one, it's got a big old spine bend right here, so I'm going to stick that in a lot. There's 161 with Nightcrawler, not super high grade, but should still do okay. This one's got a spine bend. Actually, I'll do both of those. If I'm going to do that one on a lot, that should go well. Those together, because those should be paired. So I'm going to save those for lots. That will do as a single. Oops. 118. 119. This is probably something that somebody bid on and paid too much for. Got into a bidding war. And then reneged. Because I can't imagine those didn't get a bid and probably went for a decent price. Because this is right in the heart of the golden age of the new X-Men. There's Moria. A lot going on with Moria in the X-books today. Little White Queen action. Kitty Pryde. Wendigo. Wendigo. I laugh because every time I see Wendigo, I just think of Andre the Giant and the Princess Bride. Inigo. 99, that'll do well. 100, that's definitely a single. That'll be a $50 book, even with all these spine ticks. That'll still be at least a $50 book. 101, First Phoenix. Yeah, well, we see the staples pop down here. Is it actually detached? Nope, it's just popped. Sorry, Ferrolad. It's popped, but it looks like the cover's still attached. But that'll still, in that grade, still be a $50 book. And then 102. So my Ferrolad here, I don't know if he fell off a shelf, but he looks like he's gone a couple rounds with a Sun Eater. His leg is all twisted. So he's not standing very well. Hopefully I didn't push him too far off screen there. If you ever see any Legion action figures for sale, let me know. I love the Legion. I love Legion action figures. Even customs. If you see somewhere where somebody has customs of things that you know, were never actually released, I'm interested in those as well. I'm not interested in paying a lot for them, just because I don't have it. But yeah, if you ever see any Legion action figures anywhere, let me know. 184. Boom. And some of these are backwards because when we do them as lots, we kind of alternate the spines just to protect them a little bit for shipping. So we're going to see in some of these lots a lot of repeats, a lot of things we'll see over and over. Like that issue with Forge, this issue here. Boom. There's Rachel in her slut costume. Kind of making a mess of things here. That's a great, this is a great cover, I think. Anytime you mess with a logo, that's always a good time. It's a little lower grade, but that'll still do well. Boom. I was never a fan of the Mohawk Punk Storm. That just seems so out of character to me. Poor Kitty Pryde. That one. Yeah, I guess it's all right. Lockheed. Love me some Lockheed. Last night I tried to watch the New Mutants movie, and Lockheed is like a puppet that Alanya Ruspin talks to. I only got about, I don't know, a quarter of the way into the movie, and I started to like really lose interest. And granted, I had it on and I was kind of watching it while I was working. So sometimes, well, most of the time in that case, I'm only kind of half watching anyway. But I finally just turned it off and changed it over to YouTube because Fantastic Four 200, that's a good book. And this is a 35-cent era, but I think I'm going to try it as a single, see how it does. It's in pretty good shape. But anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. I turned it off. I was like, whatever. I think I'm going to try these, even though these are 35 centers. So that's going to put them around 77, 78. Fairly high grade. I think I'll try them. Because, that's a 35-year-old comic book. 205. These should all, well, I can see here. Get this rando book added onto the end of the lot that I will probably pull once we get to it. This was kind of a low point for the Fantastic Four. After Lee and Kirby left, the book was just kind of floating on inertia for a while until John Byrne came along. Oh, well, that wasn't until 232, but even so, that was pretty low grade. I'll pull that one for a lot. See? You know what? Screw it. You lost your job, Feral Lad. Let's go with Sunboy. I think Sunboy will stand a little straighter. It's a nice cover. I always like that cover. And it's an early direct sales issue. You can see with the thing through the UPC. So yeah, that's too new to go as a single. Nothing, even though the John Byrne era is really fantastic, might be, for my money, the best run of the Fantastic Four ever, and that includes the Lee and Kirby run. They don't sell that well, and I don't know if that's because Byrne has kind of grown unpopular because he's irascible. Let's use that word. I don't want to call him an asshole because I don't disagree with him. Anything he has to say. Just the way he says it, he annoys a lot of people. So he's not that popular. But also, these books have been collected ad infinitum. They're available in about a bazillion trade paperbacks. So there's no way that would bring $10. Avengers. That's a good annual. I remember that one from when I was a kid. Number 2. That's lower grade, but should still do okay as a single. That's a reprint of the Avengers issue that featured Spider-Man. It's thick. It's got some others in it. The original was miscolored. Like the black around his eyes was colored blue. And then he had like some blue stripe running down here. But if you look in the original cover, the Spider-Man is miscolored. Boom. X-Force #1. And this is a good example. See, I've told you before how, and actually this has picked up a tick mark on the spine somehow, even though this is an unopened polybag. But you can see the indentation. Oh, I hope you can see it. Maybe if I hold it right in the light. See, there's an indentation that runs down the center of this bag, and that's from the one that was on top of it. It's this seam right here. And so this seam usually creates a color rub on the back cover and an indentation on the front cover. So if you took this out of the bag and tried to sell it as a single, and there are some people who will tell you that a book is worthless in the bag, that it's only worth anything out of the bag, and then you'll have some people who say, well, no, it's worth more as it was sold unopened in the bag. But these books almost never come out of the bag in even an 8 or an 8.5, just because of those issues. It's got the cards. Shatterstar. I forget which book it is. There's a book that's got is it Gambit? Wolverine? I just heard about this recently. Oh no, Deadpool. And they're calling it the Deadpool rookie card. So there's some book around this era that was polybagged with a Deadpool, Deadpool card. So if you find that, that's worth a little more. Squadron Supreme. I love the Squadron Supreme. I always have. I'm not too excited about the Heroes Reborn event coming up in a couple of months from Marvel, just because I've got event fatigue. So I won't be buying into that at all. But nonetheless, I do like the Squadron Supreme. You know, if it was like one issue or even a storyline in a particular series, I would be on board. But, you know, when you're doing an event that's like a 6-issue miniseries with 3 or 4 issues per month, plus 5 or 6 or 7 different tie-ins, that's too many new books for me to add to my pull list. There's not enough other stuff I'm willing to cut. So these are some Avengers. And I think, if I remember correctly, the rest of this box is going to be Avengers. So, you know, I hate to give you any reason, like I haven't already, but I hate to give you any reason to bow out, because certainly the algorithm will favor me more. Oh, these are nice. Will favor me more if you stick around. But if you don't like the Avengers, I think that's what we're going to be looking at the rest of this box. How did that not sell? It's a pretty decent, except for this fold here, that's a pretty decent copy of an early, it almost looks like it's a reprint, but it's not. Huh. This one's a little more common shape. Number 18. And 65, 66. I like this cover too. Right in this area, you had a lot of these Hawkeye as Goliath covers where he was big and being like this, reaching in from the side or below or on top, like that. This is kind of a classic cover. Scarlet Witch. See, boom. Those are all worthy singles. Worthy singles. Hercules. The Hercules era is not that good. It's right when Roy Thomas took over for Stan Lee, and they're frankly a little overwritten. It's a tough slog to get through some of these. I do love Roy Thomas, but and I love the fact that he's a little wordy. That's okay with me. But some of these early Avengers, it's like, oh my God. Go to journalism school. Kill your adverbs. The Living Laser. See, now this is a little later. Looks like somebody messed up the label. So this is a little later, but I think I'm going to try it as a single, test the market. These are, well, that's a newsstand edition, and this one's a direct sales edition. 202. If that wasn't an Ultron cover, I probably would put that in a lot. 203. If that wasn't Beast and Wonder Man, I'd put that in a lot. If this wasn't Fu Manchu, I'd put that in a lot. I'm going to try them as singles. What the hell? These probably should go in lots, though. I bet you these don't do that well. These will probably be like $4 or $5 books. But they're in decent shape, so I'll try it. This is part of the Korvac saga, which I think gets a lot more love than it deserves, but that's just me. Kind of a solo Beast outing with a clip art cover. Bloodhawk. Bloodhawk's a cool name. I'm surprised they haven't reused that. If not that character, at least that name. Oh, look, I lied. Here's, they're not going to be all Avengers going forward. This one was originally a single. Boom, boom. But based on our recent sales, that's some pretty high grade. Even though it's a 15 center, that might go for upwards of 30 or 40 bucks. At least 25, I bet you. I betcha. Betcha coconuts. I don't know what that meant. This is, I love this era of Avengers. This is sort of my golden age of the Avengers, the George Perez art, and I think these are mostly Steve Englehart scripts. Boom, boom. Jacosta, the lady robot. Because you demanded it. Graviton. Always liked Graviton. This is classic. Loved this issue as a kid. You know, and the whole... I've said this before in past videos, but I was really disappointed that the WandaVision series did not incorporate Wonder Man at all. It seems to me that would have been a good way to bring back the Vision, using the brainwaves of Wonder Man, and bringing in his brother, the Grim Reaper. And I was convinced that the missing man, and they never did say, I don't think, did they, who the FBI person that Jimmy Woo was tracking, who that actually was supposed to be, unless it was Ralph/Pietro. But I thought that was going to end up being Wonder Man, because he does have a criminal past. So that, he might have been an informer and been on the FBI witness protection program. But anyway, love this cover too. World's greatest superheroes brought down by ants. Oh no, ants! Look at the Vision. Oh, so many ants. What do I do? I can't stand the ants. Ah! But I always loved this move from Ant-Man, this growing from ant size, rapidly, and then socking him in the jaw. That was always a great move. Loved that as a kid. Here's some more Squadron Supreme, when they were still the Squadron Sinister. And I would love, this will never happen, but the fantasy of mine is to have the Squadron Supreme show up in the MCU, but with Hyperion played by Henry Cavill, and Nighthawk played by Ben Affleck, and Dr. Spectrum could be Ryan Reynolds, because he was Green Lantern, and the Wizard, you could have any number of people who've been the Flash in the DC movies or TV shows. Some Western characters. The Serpent Brain. Some more Squadron Sinister action. Boom. Didn't we see that one already? There's Golden Hawk, Fighting Hawk, Captain Hawk. They had about 14 different names for him. And haven't used him much recently at all. Yeah, definitely the rest of this box is Avengers now. Boom, 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 boom. So if you don't like the Avengers, I don't know what to tell you. Kang. Kang, 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 Kang. This is Wonder Man, back when he was still dead. Boom. I think this is, Beast is still a prospective auxiliary member. This is a little lower grade, but I'm still going to do that as a single. There's a Trope, the Looking Through the Gun Sight cover. 157. This one I am going to pull. That's too low grade to do as a single. From the 30-cent era, that's probably 1977. But that one can't be a single. That's too beat up. This one also is too beat up. I like to do it as a single just because this was my first Avengers book as a kid. That's the first book of the Avengers that I bought. And but it's too beat up. We'll do that. We'll throw that in a lot somewhere. It's freaking Hawkeye's Indian costume. So ridiculous. Can you see Jeremy Renner wearing that? That would be awesome. I would pay to see that. There's part of the Zodiac Saga. That one's Taurus. Hey, there's the gun sight cover again. There's another one of that one. Boom. The Lethal Legion. Boom, boom. Captured by the Collector. This is another familiar trope. The heroes caught in specimen tubes. That's something else you see a lot of. That's part of the Korvac saga as well. And I got to tell you, the Korvac saga kind of came and went, as I recall. We got a random label here. Second printing. So with first print. Well, that must have been in that Batman bag. Frig was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I was talking... Oh, Korvac. The Korvac saga, it like came in and out and skipped an issue or something. This was a little rough, but that's a 20-center. I'm going to try it as a single. And so it didn't even read right at the time. To me, anyway. I don't know. There's some more Zodiac action. Taurus, Leo. Who's the Ram? Aries? Boom, boom. Hey, we've seen that one before. This one's rough. That one I'll put in a lot with those other ones. Try and goose that lot a little bit. All right, this is it. This is the last of it. More collector action. Same church, different pew. They're just not in specimen jars is all. Boom. We just saw that one too. This one's in better shape though. Boom. We've seen this one. Boom. We've seen this one. Hopefully the person who ends up listing these will spread these out. And you won't get the same issue listed the same day. A little hint for you. You know, if you've got a lot of the same issue. Spread them out, because if you've got them going during the same 5-day period, they will tend to cannibalize each other. People will not bid on one, waiting to see how the other one does, or they'll just bid on the one that's in the higher grade and skip the one that's in the lower grade. They will cannibalize each other. This is everything here we've seen before. Whoop, I know, just as I say that. Here's one we haven't seen. Claw. And here's some Inhumans action. Boom, floating heads. There are people who collect floating head covers. Like, doesn't matter what the book is, if it's a floating head like that, they're in. And I say that like that's a strange thing, but, you know, it's really not. Whatever makes you happy, any reason you want to collect a certain type of book, if it makes you happy, then there's nothing wrong with it. So here is Rick Jones acting like Kid Eternity and reviving some Golden Age Marvel heroes. Of course, Captain America, Human Torch, and Submariner. But then you've also got, well, that's the original Vision. That's the Finn. I forget his name. And it probably was the Blazing Skull. Because they weren't terribly creative with names back then. And is this the Patriot, maybe? No. I can't. He was some patriotic hero. I believe he appeared in USA Comics. But I don't know if I can remember his name. It was a little rough. But I think still... No, actually, it's got some water damage. Screw it. I'll pull that one. That'll go in a lot. That one's okay. That's the last book. That's it. That's everything. That's an entire box. So thank you for watching. I hope you had some fun. And until next time, until the next box, as always, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other. Actually, we'll bring back Pharaoh Lad, since he doesn't have to try and stand. Be good to each other.